And we want to get the link for YouTube as well, John.
Okay.
Can you do that?
All right. So we are live.
All right. We're live. Hey, how about that?
Yeah, you wanna go ahead and introduce while I
All right.
get ready links.
Hey guys, we're back. And Coffee Politics. Today is Trump and Covfefe, so it's a special edition. We're really excited to have this show. We finally have John back in the studio, and we're going to be changing our studio a little bit in the future. But we wanted to bring you this episode. We're trying to get the YouTube link so that we can share that out with everybody. Um, he's still doing some technical stuff.
Getting the YouTube link.
Getting the YouTube link. So I'll stall. You'll notice there's another person or another video panel in our stream, and that is our guest today, David. David, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, like what you do for a living, and
Yeah, just my home address, whatever I can do.
well, maybe not that. Maybe leave
I just
that off.
no. I'm for open borders, but not that open.
Okay.
Let's do. Well, I'll just go ahead and just tell what I do. I work in IT or in healthcare,
Cool.
and so so basically, I'll just get started as far as like where I'm coming from. So
Wait
is
on
that too
that.
soon?
Wait on that. We're gonna.
Oh,
do that.
okay. I'll just tell a bit about myself then.
We're solving some technical things, making sure we have a good stream and making sure we have good
Okay,
audio.
okay,
'Cause
yeah.
We're using freeware, so like it sucks. So,
That's right. Well,
yeah,
capitalism, you know,
yeah, capitalism, right?
America.
Yeah.
Just everything free sucks, and that's the theme of this show.
Yeah.
I don't have the
Wait.
YouTube link right now, so let's
What?
just.
Okay.
Let's just
So we don't have the YouTube link right now. We will get one eventually.
But
Does
we
look
should
like our
we should check and make
camera's
sure
crooked, dude.
we
You
should.
notice that?
Yeah,
It's fine.
It's
It's
fine.
fine.
What we're gonna
Yeah,
do?
we're good. We look
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, we're good. We're
Um,
solving stuff.
Can you see the
Solving
stream
stuff live.
on your computer, David?
Let me. I actually need to. I'm
Alright.
just on the Hangouts chat. I'm gonna go to the Twitch TV.
Yeah,
So,
don't leave
here
the
we go.
hangout.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we got. I think
Well,
we.
he's gonna check the stream for us as well.
There it
Okay.
is.
Yeah, I think the
Wow.
audio is
I
working.
see it.
So you're good.
I see it now. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Well, now that you can see us, U.S. of A.
I'm a fan. I'm
yeah.
a fan.
Yeah, we are too.
Yeah.
What a coinky dink. Anyway, so we're good. We're good to get started.
Yeah, we were good to get started.
All right. A little bit of a rocky start, but here we go. So I'm Ben, and this is my co-host John.
Hello.
We're interviewing today David. David, this is the time to tell us a little bit about your background and where you're coming from. So.
Okay. Well, I go by the he/him pronouns, so thank you for
Okay.
mentioning it correctly. Anyway, as far as you, just about me or political purpose?
Whatever you want. If you wanna talk about you, you can.
Okay.
This is your platform. Just 30-second plug.
Okay.
Whatever you want
Yeah,
to say.
yeah. Okay, just real quick, I went over like who I was, but as far as like where I'm coming from, as far as where I stand on the political spectrum,
Sure.
I was I guess I still like Bernie, but I'm very against Bernie or busters. I think people who vote their party really do hate their country. Let's see, I'm a social democrat, meaning I believe in a high social safety net, but have capitalism as the driver. I don't believe in socialism, as far as when it comes to having the means of productions owned by the workers, because we can get into that later. But so yeah, high capitalism, kind of like a FDR/Teddy Roosevelt kind of a view of capitalism, with a social safety net where we can have equality of opportunity, not outcome. That would be more of communism, so not a fan of that. Anyway, so that's the little dig of that.
Well, just for fun, in one sentence, can you distinguish communism from socialism?
Communism, the biggest thing will be having the. So I'll just tell you my view of socialism. Socialism is where the operations is not basically a market socialism. So right now we have like Facebook is capitalistic, and it's owned by Mark Zuckerberg, and he has the board of trustees. And even though he owns the company, socialism would be like, what if all of his workers had equal share or shares in the company and they rule it, not rule it, or own it together. I'm not for that because the problem is that you get into a managerial standpoint and sometimes where I do agree with conservatives, like you do need to have some kind of deregulation when it comes to firing people at ease to make sure a company succeeds.
Well,
So anyway, communism I would say is more aggressive when it comes to state owning the means of production, where all your goods goes to the overall benefit of the country.
so just
Um,
so I'm clear, you're saying that the distinguishing factor between communism and socialism is in socialism the state controls and regulates businesses, whereas communism it owns, controls, and regulates businesses.
right. Like communism, for example, would say like central planning. Like the government would say, "Hey,
Well,
we,
I'm just looking for
yeah, yeah,
definitions, not examples.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
so
yeah,
just a defined term. The main crucial word distinction is the word own.
right."
Okay.
Who owns the means of
Okay.
production?
Um, cool. I'm fine.
But I do have some questions for you guys because I
Sure.
figured.
Yeah. So
Uh,
well, let me just plug that for
oh,
you
yeah,
real
we'll
quick.
keep going. Yeah, yeah,
So David wanted to come on the show and ask us questions, which I'm really excited about, and I think John is too.
Yeah.
I love when people ask me questions because it means I get to do less work. So kind of in the Ron Swanson spirit of things, David, ask us as many questions as you'd like.
Well, the first few here, I just because I'm gonna go ahead and throw it like this, and forgive anybody who's watching who's a Trump supporter. I, for the life of me, do not understand Trump supporters.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that in a derogatory standpoint.
No.
Like my whole life, I try to figure people out, and that's not. For me, I have a hard time understanding why Trump supporters are the way they are, or why they believe the way they believe.
Sure.
So I've seen all the Facebook banter, and as much as I would like to get in, I don't want to make the same mistake I made 4 years ago. Long story short, got into a disagreement with Ben. I got triggered, snowflake, safe space, all that 9 yards, and I just whatever, and I just couldn't take it because we just kept going on and on Facebook where
Yeah, it's an
nobody was
awful,
budging.
awful medium. And I want you
It's
to know,
yeah.
David, that's not going to happen here. The whole goal of this podcast is for civil discourse and for us to have a finite debate. It's not meant to trigger anyone or offend people.
Yeah.
That's not our goal. So
So not like Trump. Anyway, sorry, that was a low blow. My bad.
that's fine.
Now, I really want to kind of play like we wear the other hat for a minute because I think
Sure.
the deprogramming on both sides and understanding people in general. So, for example, like my first question is, and I'll answer it for my side, which is Bernie. What is your strongest criticism of Trump?
My strongest. Oh, that's easy actually. I am very disappointed, policy wise, in his spending. I really thought that Trump was gonna put a lid on spending, um, but he didn't.
I'm gonna have to go with guns. That's pretty easy.
Well,
He's not been that good with guns.
yeah. I mean, I, I actually I think Reagan was worse on guns than Trump was.
He was,
Trump got
sure.
rid of
Say
bump
worse on
stocks.
guns, what do you
Big
mean?
deal.
But he also publicly proposed red flag laws and such.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
very
I don't
publicly.
think he's perfect.
Yeah,
I'll
so
definitely
I
not
would say
hold
like
with
when
that
it comes
into
to
those
it,
things.
because like I mean, let's be real. Who cares about spending if gun rights get taken away? So
I care about spending.
not if gun rights get taken away, you wouldn't.
Well, all right. I guess as a Trump supporter and as sitting next to my co-host, disagreeing on this, which we love to disagree. I have to say I can't decide which one's worse in that context. The way John just put it, if guns are gone, do we really care about spending? I guess you're right. I mean, I wouldn't, because we'd be screwed. That being said, I mean, we are in a crisis at $22+ trillion in debt, so I'm not happy about that. But
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess because I went into a deep dive there in the beginning, real quick, as I'm not familiar. I know a little bit, but
sure.
and so I guess I'm ignorant of this. Can you guys go over like your little 15, 20 second, like where your political compass is? Like,
Oh,
are you libertarian, conservative? Are you
I'm a
Like, can
constitutional
you say you're
conservative. I
so,
am right of Attila the Hun. That doesn't mean alt right. So there's the distinction for me is alt right to me is basically left. Like they're the same thing. They just pick a different color. I don't believe in being racist. I don't support racism. I support free market. I support the right to do with your property as you please, as long as you don't infringe on someone else's. And I support your right to empower yourself through your own choices. And that to me is conservatism. Um,
I would say I am it's it's kind of hard to, I don't know, narrow it down as much as you just did, but I would say like I'm pretty far right in most of my views. Again, not alt right as you
yeah.
said. That's too far, and I think most conservatives think that's too far. That's kind of a fringe group. So when people call other people that, it's kind of, I don't know. But either way, I would say I'm pretty far right in my views. Most every possible view you could think of, I associate on the right, um, except for death penalty, which I don't believe in, but that's okay. And other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say that I am a constitutional conservative as well. I'd have to kind of side with you on that one, kind of summarizing there.
so
But
you, so you would say you're pro-life the whole way.
yes, exactly, and
Oh,
not
as
and
am
that's
I.
and that's not from a religious view at all. That's completely just like through logic and
See, that's interesting. So I agree with you. I'm with you there on the logic, but it's also a religious thing for me. That being said, it's not something that I've been pro life on because of politics. I'm and I separate the two. Like if I'm arguing that particular topic in politics, I'm using logic. I'm not using religion.
yeah,
But
that's what I mean. Like you don't put your pro life views on a religious basis because not everyone has the same religious basis as you. So,
yeah,
but yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, I guess that I'll go on to I guess my strongest criticism of Bernie.
sure.
I think Bernie, on the pro side, he did a good job of populism left as far as rallying people like younger voters and getting them believing in politics and seeing a different way and all that stuff. I think that's where he succeeded. Where he failed was anybody in their right mind would have never used the term socialist to describe himself and think they were going to win in America. Like, just to be clear,
AOC did.
no, she did ish, but she never said she was. I don't think she said she was Democratic Socialist until she also talked about capitalism too.
Oh,
Every time
I
capitalism
don't
gets
know a
brought
lot
up,
about AOC. She's the gift that
well,
keeps on giving. I pay
well, I
her a
know,
lot
yeah,
of lip
well,
service.
she is, yeah, she's the.
I hope she never leaves. Honestly.
Oh yeah, true. That's the same way how I feel about Ted Cruz, but
Oh, oh,
or Mitch McConnell, excuse me, Mitch
oh.
McConnell.
I could do without Mitch
Oh,
McConnell.
come on! I like
Well,
Mitch
he's
McConnell.
I know you
That's
come on,
do.
man.
I'm
He'll
not.
come out of
I'm
the shell
more of
one
a
day.
Ted Cruz
He'll come
guy.
out.
yeah, he does look like a turtle. I gotta say
Cocaine
that.
Mitch.
Yeah, Cocaine Mitch. That was the best ad of all time.
Well, yeah.
So the big thing
Oh,
is that I say Bernie with the socialism rhetoric was terrible because, for example, Joe Biden destroyed Bernie on Super Tuesday, and there are some lefties online who just think, well, if Elizabeth Warren would have dropped out, then Bernie would have won. They are flat out lunatics, bonkers. There's no way.
maybe.
So
I don't
like
know.
their big thing politically was, hey, I got an idea. What if there's 13 people in the race and Bernie just has 30% the entire way, and maybe Bernie will win? No, you have to still get a majority of folks. Like if people leave, people have to join your side. And older voters, who by the way come out and vote, not like young people do. By the way, like I think it was like a 65% clip, came out and voted overwhelmingly for Biden. Now I have my issues with Biden too, and I'm assuming we might get there sometime. But I mean, that was terrible politics. Terrible
Look, man,
politics. You have to
you're
talk
not going
about
to hear any
capitalism.
argument from me about terrible politics from the Democratic primaries.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was
Oh
a
yeah.
joke.
It was a
And
joke. It was a joke.
I mean,
And Biden barely
honestly,
tried.
I feel bad for Biden. I don't even. I like. I honestly, I think he's just like a wrench that somebody's using to screw a bolt in. Like,
Well,
I genuinely think, I think the guy was always terrible. I've never liked Biden, and I don't think he's a good person. That aside, though, I feel genuinely bad for the guy. Like, I mean, it's very clear he has dementia, like, or
yeah. Well,
Alzheimer's. I don't know, but I really, I think what they're doing to him is kind of evil, honestly.
well, the big thing with Biden, and it's just if he wins, I
Yeah.
have to give him credit. The dude did basically nothing and became president of the United
I
States.
think you need to give his campaign team credit, and maybe Kamala, although I think she hurt him more than she helped him.
I don't know. I don't think she. I think she pretty much status quo.
I do want to
think-
interject with a question here real quick before we kind of get off topic on this
Yeah.
this election
Yeah.
thing.
I
So
have-
you
yeah,
said
sorry, I'll go on
no,
next.
you're okay.
Sorry.
But I wanted to say you said that you didn't support Bernie because he was openly, or like the thing that you didn't support about Bernie was the fact that he was openly socialist, or the thing you least liked. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, from a political standpoint,
Yes,
I think
okay.
it was stupid.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so are you saying that you would basically support him running and lying about being a socialist and then being one? Because when we started this, you kind of said that you were a socialist. So would it be better if he lied about it, or what's the deal on that?
Me, I'm not a socialist. I believe in high social safety net, where capitalism will drive taxes and kind of like what we have now, but raise the net a little bit.
So welfare state.
Oh, more like a welfare state, not like the
Okay.
We can go into that later, but
okay, that's fair.
We
that's
have a
fair.
social safety net now, but
Yeah, I would agree.
so all right, I'll anyway. So what's an issue on your side of the party that you wish you would relax more on to get more voters on your side?
If you're asking me if I was willing to sacrifice my principles in order to get votes, my answer is none of them.
Well, just
I mean,
all right.
Well,
you go. Yeah.
Yeah, an issue that I think that the Republican Party should go easier on is, well, this is really hard because you're talking about party platform, and I would say my biggest thing is I wish that we would stop attacking each other so much. That's my biggest thing. I just think it's silly.
I don't think we do very much anymore.
The parties are attacking
We
each
did
other
in
worse than ever, and like
2016.
I don't know. When I go back and I watch it, when I watch a speech from like I don't know, even like George Bush or someone like that, I just see a lot more good demeanor in that. And of course, I wish that from the other party as well. It's not only the Republican Party, but I just don't. I think what happens is when you have all this kind of going back and forth, a lot of the common Americans don't even understand what issue they're even going on about. They're just kind of throwing hate at each other.
Yeah.
And I think what that does is it disenfranchises voters because there's a lot of people who might vote, but they can't get the facts on the issues because the parties in general are too busy going at each other. And that's one of my biggest things that I think takes away votes, probably from both parties, but I'm sure
That's not what he
Republicans.
asked.
Well, it's not a specific issue. I wouldn't compromise on a specific issue, but I would compromise on the way the party conducts itself, which is part of its platform.
Well, yeah, both
Yeah,
parties should
maybe
conduct
not
themselves
issue.
better. I mean, but
Not issue. I would say more along lines like messaging or something that they're doing a terrible job. Like for example,
oh, you're asking us what messaging they're doing badly?
or just something that you think they need to either change. Like here's an example: the left saying defund the police. You cannot say the words defund the police and expect people to join your side if you need like a 15-minute aftermath of conversation to explain what you really need. So
That's some facts right there. The
Yeah,
defund the
I
police
agree.
thing
I
is
love that they're saying that. I think it's hilarious.
it has no like logical foundation. Like you should be funding the police more with education and stuff like that. And I truly think that like one of the biggest answers to that issue is just to put police through more education, whether it's some sort of university education, maybe a year of university, in additional to because post they just kind of train them to be like tactical and stuff and more aggressive. And I think
I mean, I think it depends on what city, county, or state.
it does, but the police,
In Idaho,
but posts like
it's nuts.
the state police are like notoriously trained to be like aggressive in general.
I mean, what state?
Idaho
I can't
Idaho
imagine
for
that.
sure. I know that for a fact. I know quite a few people have gone through ISP and
I've heard it's aggressive to get in. I haven't heard that they're aggressive with civilians.
I don't know. Like, I just know that it's like a rigorous training program, and it's more militaristic than we need with your everyday police encounter, which is not very. Most police encounters every day are not very militaristic in nature.
Well, I mean, this is speculation on both sides, so I
Yeah.
don't know which one of us is correct. But I mean,
Yeah, but either way, I was just putting that out there that I agree that that's kind of a, I don't know, a
Okay.
silly message, but yeah.
All
keep
right.
those
Here's another
questions
question.
firing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the least favorite politician on your side who's a Republican. I'm assuming Mitt Romney or anybody against
Oh yeah, I hate Mitt
Daddy
Romney.
Trump or.
Mitt Romney and
Sorry.
Justin Amash, both of them. I do not. I don't hate them. I dislike them intensely. Um,
Okay.
yeah, but not just because they don't like Trump, but because they're pathetic liars. I mean, Justin Amash, when asked directly, "Why do you support impeachment?" couldn't answer. Mitt Romney, same thing. I was very. I mean, I would support impeachment if you could justify your position. And I've said that. We said that on the show when we had that guy Eric. Not Eric. No, yeah, Eric Nelson. When we had him on the show, I said to him, "I'm like, look, if you have direct evidence, hard evidence that Trump committed a crime, I'm with you. Let's impeach the bastard. I'm fine with that, you know." But he didn't.
Basically, anyone who's disloyal to the party at this point by doing some sort of grandstanding of sorts, trying to make themselves look better, I basically dislike anybody who does that in the party. I'd say the only person who goes about that somewhat decently sometimes, although he's still a little obnoxious, is Rand Paul. He does his own fair share of grandstanding and trying to make himself look like an honorable individual who doesn't vote along party lines and stuff, but usually he just ends up wasting his time because he just caves in anyway and votes on the party line.
See,
So
this is where I break with you a little bit because I could care less about the party. I don't care about the party. I care about the platform. We are a republic, therefore I am a Republican.
but what is the party but its platform?
No, I disagree with that as well.
You don't think a party is consistent of its platform?
No, I don't think that Mitt Romney is consistent with the platform. I don't think
He,
Justin Amash
he's
is
not.
consistent with
That's
the
what I'm
platform.
saying. He goes against the platform.
Right.
He goes against the party.
But that's I don't think that the party is always with the platform is what I'm trying to say.
If you don't have, the reason I dislike those people was because if you don't have party unification, the left, and up until now, I would say, has had pretty good party unification. Like when it comes to their actual voting,
Sure.
you never really hear of them splitting. There was that one dude who split, who didn't. I think he didn't vote for impeachment or something. I can't remember what his name was. He joined the Republican
Oh,
Party.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Gosh, what was his
I can't remember his name, but other than that, they have like perfect
there was
party
somebody
unification.
else, too. And Tulsi Gabbard did present, which, whatever. But who was it? You're right. I'm trying to remember.
And he met with Trump
Oh
and
no,
stuff.
no. It was the chick from was it Arizona? She's nuts, but she actually cared about her constituents in that moment, which I thought was impressive. Kristen. She's
Anyway,
blonde.
it doesn't. We're getting
Yeah.
but
So-
but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we're getting people commenting. I always love when people troll. I can't read it anyway. But
Yeah, I should have busted out my laptop with the chat.
it's right there. You can
well.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
I'll just answer really quick my least favorite politician on my side. I would say Nancy Pelosi.
We met her.
Yeah. Well, I think she's just really clueless when it comes to like messaging to the party as far as like, she was talking about like how, I forgot what it was. It's something like she showed ice cream in her like gigantic house.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, that was adorable.
Dianne Feinstein was pretty awful. Dianne Feinstein.
I love
probably is number
both
one.
of them. I think they're great. I hope
Well,
they stay.
Feinstein. The thing is, like, don't get me wrong. Now here's the thing.
Pull out the chat.
The difference between
pull out the chat. I can't help
Wait, I'm trying to hear him. Sorry. What, David?
I would say the difference like between like I think just politicians in general, like it's hard to just say my party is better than your party or whatever, because I just see people as people. Like for example,
Sure.
Richard Burr and Dianne Feinstein are equally horribly corrupt for what they did with the COVID COVID scare. Feinstein made money off of the war in Iraq. So did Dick Cheney. These people, to me, are
Dick Cheney made
lower
a
than scum.
lot of money.
Cheney made a lot of money, and he and there's a lot of corrupt politicians. I mean, forgot the guy's name. The guy who was director of Health Human Services. He literally, when he was in Congress, he would say like, "Hey," he owned like stock in a company, and then proposed like bought more stock, and then whenever he went to go, and then when he went to go like propose to Congress legislation, he suggested that legislation to buy this certain type of material, which the company that he owns, and then he made money off of it. Well, he's just rigging the game for himself. That's
Yeah.
corruption. That's the swamp. So,
So what you're saying is some politicians are corrupt and in it for themselves?
oh yeah, yeah. But that's
I
the
mean,
thing, though.
yeah.
But that's the thing, though. That's not just Republican or Democrat. I think that's the problem that I have with some people in general. It's like, oh, Democrats are the only one that's corrupt. Are you kidding me? I mean, yeah, they are.
Oh no,
But
no,
just
no.
so are
There are
Republicans.
Republicans that are corrupt, absolutely,
Yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of hard
and I
to
think
see
they
that.
should
And
be purged immediately.
100%. And Richard Burr, like, he's in my state, and he's I mean, I hope he gets all the money he will get from the lobbyists. I mean, John Edwards, terrible human being, and now he's just off being a lawyer up in the Durham area or Cary area, whatever.
Sure.
And he can go sleep with whatever makeup artist he wants to. So anyway, my last, like, I guess, cordial question. I guess we'll get to the spicy meatball, as you might say.
Ask whatever you
Um,
want, David. You can't
okay.
offend us.
All right. How has your politics changed over the past 10 years? Ben, I know
Oh yeah.
you were on the lefty side.
I was never on the left. I thought I was, but my politics have actually never changed. I've always believed that the individual is the person that matters most and should be able to make choices on their own to better their own lives. I've always believed that, and that is not at all in line with the left. So I mean, the biggest change for me, I would say, is abortion. I used to be pro-choice, and I can't believe some of the things I've said.
Now that we got chat up, I just want to say real quick, this guy says politicians are corrupt, and so are those who make money on it, especially if they're both. Yeah, especially if they're both. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, my mic is low. Apparently.
Is low. Okay. You know what? I can turn that up.
All right, you want to do that?
Is your
Thank you
have it
Papa
turned
Lurk.
on, right?
Lurk? Oh, yeah, it's on.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Just making sure. Yeah, I'll turn it up.
All right.
But I before I do that,
Yeah.
I want to go ahead and say where I stand on that. I would say the only thing that I have changed on over the years is death penalty. That was it. And that's funny that I keep bringing that up, but seriously, until I really started looking into like the pro-life argument and debating with people, I realized why it's not right that the government can condone the killing of other people. And so that's the only position I changed on. Everything else I've been relatively the same. I mean, besides the fact that I guess because of Trump, I support executive action a little more because he's been using it a lot. And I can't deny the fact that I think what he's done with it has been good. I can't even deny that without lying to myself. And so I think that is definitely one of those things where once I saw it used in a beneficial way, I can see the value in having that kind of power, I guess. So.
Okay.
Go ahead, David.
Well,
Do you want to fix that?
all right. I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and answer, and I'm going to go. I guess it'll kind of be a good segue into the cayenne pepper of the debate. So I used to actually be over the college Republicans. I used to be part of a very conservative group at Western, where I
Oh,
went.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a public policy institute, and I was actually very conservative in college, actually, and I was pro-life, tax rates, freedom, bald eagle, whatever it is, call it a day, American blankets, whatever.
Yeah.
So, stand for the flag, whatever. No snowflake here. But the thing is that over the course of time, I started looking at data and science, and like Jon Stewart was actually a good turning point for me because I think the way his rhetoric was and how he talked and how he explained the hypocrisy on Fox News, which basically is, and I'll go into CNN in a second, but Fox News is just a Republican talking piece, and CNN, I don't think they're liberal, I just think they're sensationalist, And anything that can make a story, they're just going to make it because they want to make money. And they right now they're known as the anti-Trump thing, so they'll just do anything anti-Trump just to make money. And NBC just fails at life. So my only thing is and Fox News does a good job when it comes to marketing, even though Hannity, like, I'm going on a tangent. Anyway, so then I went to TYT. I watched them for a couple of years, but they're just not as. And then I started falling into the trap of just listening to one side of the argument. So I realized that I was just falling down a rabbit hole of listening to one side. But then when I started getting better at understanding the left versus right is listening to debates between conservative and liberal. And ever since then, I'm pretty hardcore on where I understand where I am on the political compass. And so, for example, um, I would say I am a libertarian left. So, uh, so as far as there's some things that I understand with the authoritarian side. I know it sounds awful, but like for example, you're Attila the Hun. He was If you're right of Attila the Hun, he was authoritarian.
I'm nothing like him. I
I
was
know you're
trying to
nothing
give
like
it a
him.
metaphor.
I'm just saying, if if there is a live and let live or whatever, and that's where I kind of am now. And this leads me to the final thing, and this is the meat of why I wanted to contact you guys, because to me, and this is from my standpoint, so understand this is from my worldview, but I cannot understand the hypocrisy from a Trump supporter because every single thing that they said Obama was going to do, Trump does it worse. He has golfed more than Obama did in 8 years in 1 year. He has gone on more plane trips and wasted way more taxpayer money. And what Fox News used to run non-stop conversations about when Obama would go see like with Hillary on a campaign ad. And they're like, guess how much money he wasted taxpayer dollars. Meanwhile, Melania is in Trump Tower, one of the hardest places on earth to guard, with Secret Service for 8 months, millions of taxpayer dollars, not a peep, not a peep. Then he golfs on his own private golf course, makes money through taxpayer dollars. If Obama did 1% of that, Fox News would implode. Like, if they thought Benghazi was bad, Jesus Christ, if Trump was a Democrat. Like, I can't get over it. Like, it's just unreal. Like, I get so triggered when it comes to this because it's so much hypocrisy.
Well,
so that's why I wanted to contact.
Right. I want to give that to you. I want to show you why we're Trump supporters. So I want you to ask those tough questions that help you get there rather than I appreciate that you said all that, but I want to address that stuff. So if you want to go ahead and ask us.
Go one by one. Go one by one.
Well, I honestly I don't care about the golf stuff or the plane stuff. I care about policy. So I mean, let's look at a very easy one, right? So Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize just because he was in office before he did anything. I believe.
Sure.
And then he created, the Middle East. He created a mess in the Middle East. Trump just negotiated the UAE deal with Israel, and basically secured peace in the Middle East. I mean, that is huge. I don't know how much you've read about that, but I was stunned that he was even able.
You talking about the UAE and Israel?
UAE, Israel, Iran. Yeah, Iran didn't sign obviously, but it's about Iran. Let's face it. I mean, that was a huge deal. I think if any president could do that, if Obama had done it, he would have deserved the Nobel Peace Prize. I think Trump absolutely succeeded where Obama failed in that regard. So, I mean, if you want to talk about, accomplishments that he has.
And we should take a chat pause real quick while we do that. We just have a couple things in here. Man Working says the left is supported by a giant list of left leaning media, and that is, I mean, I agree on that. And he says that is true about Trump travel, but it's just not President Obama. It was also frequent international family vacations with Michelle and the kids. I mean, I don't think any, like, I mean, me personally, I thought it was just petty rock throwing when it was the Republican Party doing it to Obama, and I still think it is now. I think it's just silly. Did Trump say stuff against Obama golfing and stuff? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But did I ever personally side with that? I never really cared. I mean, I think that the presidential position in general wastes so much money. I mean, they literally all the Secret Service and everything just for them to even walk out of the White House if they want to is just it's just insane. So I think that I just kind of write that stuff off from both sides. I think it's just silly throwing.
And you want to talk about personal aggrandizement? Who came out richer than coming into the White House? Obama went in $12 million poorer than he came out. Trump forgoes his salary and donates it to the military every year and loses money in his businesses just being president. I mean, he loses.
Oh, and there's no way.
I think that
I crossed the
Trump
street because I couldn't enter Trump's hotel. Oh, what a racist, evil human being! No one should.
And he's closed off. He's closed off, or he's halted production of some of his clothing brands and stuff like that as well because of the fire they've been under. And this guy in the chat says it's super relevant to where we're at right now. I think a president should not mix his interests when it comes to his own financial gains. And I think that in the case of Trump, I mean, if he owns these properties, that just happens to be what he did as a career before. And he signed them all off to his kids technically. But if you want to say family, okay. But you can't just forbid the man from visiting his own properties, and it's not his fault that he has to get all this Secret Service and everything, all these expenses and stuff just to go there. But you can't fault him for visiting his own property that he owns. I mean, we wouldn't fault Obama for...
We're getting into the weeds again. I don't care about any of that.
I don't, but I'm just saying you can't fault him for doing that.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. And I totally agree with you. When Joe Biden goes on a vacation and they talk about how much money he spent, what I'm saying is, what I've learned over the course of time is false equivalencies, right? So, for example, if Obama, whatever the person said about family vacations, I'm not attacking them. I'm just saying, let's say Obama and Michelle did go on family vacations. When we talk about the part of how much money in difference, it's not even close. It's not even close. It's not even in the same ballpark. Trump has spent way more money on Secret Service than any president in the history of this country.
I don't know that. Again, it's
we can
not really relevant.
Check it out. But I'm just saying.
Sure, but I mean, I don't care.
Now, if you want to say policy, sure. But I'm just saying, also when we and by the way, he did not give up ownership of his company. He gave his kids managerial rights, but he still owns his company.
Oh, there's nothing wrong.
He still
with that. Even if he was making so much money, I really don't. I don't care.
But ain't that like the swamp, right?
No.
If he literally if he literally has money,
the swamp is people taking money and getting in bed with government to make policy that supports only your business. Trump isn't doing that. I mean, he's not
So he's not. Go ahead. Say it again. I want to understand you fully. Go ahead. Sorry.
So okay, first off, the president can't make law. He can make policy.
He can enforce law.
He's right. The executive branch, that's his only job.
Yeah.
Right. So if he's making a policy that somehow circumvents the law and then aggrandizes his business and destroys other businesses, I'm against that. 100%. That's an easy call for me. If a president does that, it's wrong. Okay. I haven't seen any examples of that, and I feel like if he had done that, it would be all over the news. We would be hearing it 24/7.
So
we wouldn't be hearing about COVID. This would be bigger than COVID. You know what I mean?
So when Trump has meetings with private citizens and talks about political stuff at Mar-a-Lago, basically those people pay for private access. I mean, that is politics, to be fair to him.
Yeah, that's not. We're getting into stuff that I as a Trump supporter, it has nothing to do with why I'm a Trump supporter.
Well, all I know is, now don't get me wrong, you're right, but all I know is there's a lot of people who said Hillary was corrupt, and I agree with them. Mm-hmm. But we cannot say two things. We cannot hold those things, say Hillary's corrupt, but Trump's not, when they're basically the same person.
No, 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 no,
Oh
no,
yeah.
no, 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 no.
Oh yeah.
Hillary Clinton actually did use the government to aggrandize herself. I mean, we have evidence of that. We have proof of that, and
When you say grandize, what do
actively.
you mean?
Well, you're right. I used the wrong word. Enrich is a much better word. I mean, you want to talk about the Clinton Foundation with respect to Haiti? I mean, they used laws to get
100% agree.
funding. I
Yeah.
mean, that was
Yeah.
that was not okay. They destroyed those villages. I mean, destroyed. So I mean,
Oh yeah.
I don't know how you can say that
Oh, there's no love
Trump
lost with me and
and
Hillary.
Clinton are the same in that regard because they're
So
not. Like
so when Trump, right, when Trump says, for example, whenever Secret Service had to stay at Trump Tower for Melania for Barron, we paid millions of
again,
taxpayer dollars. Well, no, 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 hold on, hold
if
on.
you're
This is
trying to
very important. This
understand,
is very
but if you're
important.
trying to
That
understand why we're
taxpayer
Trump
money, where did that go?
supporters,
Where did that go?
like
That went straight to Trump's pockets. That's enriching himself. Okay, that is literally enriching. Where does that taxpayer money go? To the person who still owns Trump Tower. And who
But
owns Trump Tower? It's Trump.
I I
He's
I
enriching
don't
himself.
I don't get I think you're still kind of missing the point here, which is that I mean, they would have had to stay somewhere. They would have had to pay that money somewhere. So they
Like the
don't stay
White
in the
House?
Trump Tower. Let's see, where else are they going to stay in New York to protect them? Like they can stay at any super expensive place. It's still going to cost millions of taxpayer dollars. But the Trump Tower happens to be the place where Melania and Barron are at, which makes it way
Yeah.
more sense to have the Secret Service
So
there.
what are you gonna do? Tell the president that his first lady has to be in the White House too?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, that's
Because
never applied to
I
any
don't
other
care.
family.
Like then Michelle Obama should never have gone to China. I mean, come on. That's
to stay there, does she live in China?
she went there for a week and they spent what $10 million.
I'm not sure on the numbers on that,
It was a big number.
but I mean,
Wow.
Melania and Barron don't
Like,
they don't live in the Trump Towers actively. They did for a short
well,
period
when
of
we
time.
went, Barron was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But they generally live in the White House, I
don't
believe.
know. I don't care.
They live in the White House
this
now,
is
yeah.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was
not
clarifying with
important.
you, because like they if they visit the Trump Towers and they go there or whatever, you're gonna post up the Secret Service wherever they happen to be. If they happen to not have a house in New York and they happen to be somewhere else, the Secret Service is still gonna have to stay somewhere. So it doesn't really matter.
So I'm gonna address two comments. So literally every other president's wife lived in the White House. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Precedent does not equal law. And then the next comment. But Obama didn't own a resort there. Obama's lost. It doesn't matter what you owned or didn't own prior to entering the White House. If you have an asset, I fully support you being allowed to use it. It's your property. This is where the conservative in me comes alive. I don't care what you do with your property as long as you don't infringe on someone else's. If you are the president and you need the Secret Service to protect you, well, guess what? If the wife wants to go to the other house, go to the other house. I don't care.
And we can kind of fact check this on stream if we want to, but I would say with 99% certainty that and of course my Bixby activates. Bixby is the worst. I would say with 99% certainty that Trump has lost money since he got into the White House, and I would like to fact check that, because I cannot provide you a direct source. That's why I say that. But
again, we're getting off like.
well, it was just because
Well,
somebody
the
said in
question
chat to
is-
buff his pockets
right,
directly, and I'm just saying, like,
But
I'm pretty sure he has not made money.
Why are we Trump supporters? This has nothing.
Yeah,
to do.
yeah. This is
Well, no.
this is all fringe. This is like
Well, no,
fringe
no,
material.
actually, no, that this actually is the main reason, because the core of it is because when I see, I've never seen anything when it comes to the Trump. I have to give Trump credit. Trump has done a fantastic job of getting people riled up for him. I literally saw. I'm not shitting. Oh, sorry.
What?
Crapping you.
Oh.
I am not crapping you. That I literally saw an elderly man with a picture of Trump's face, like on his back passenger mirror or my passenger window.
Yeah.
And it's like in full detail.
Yeah.
It's
I have
like
a signed
it's like
copy
I'm,
downstairs. I have like these coins and
like it's like painted on their window.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
adore
like
the
Justin
man.
Bieber. This is Justin Bieber. I'm not, and this is not like I'm not talking about insult, but it's like Justin Bieber like levels of fandom. And I would say this about Bernie people too.
Is
To
he
be
really
fair,
that big?
I
I
mean,
just want to say, dude, I don't even like hear his name
well,
anymore.
not anymore.
but he
To be
was,
fair,
but
Michael Jackson, that's better.
but
but the
but
level of fandom is insane.
Oh yeah,
It's like worshiping a
he
man
has
and not the
performed.
country,
He
right?
has performed. He has shown that he cares about this country, and I have not seen a president care about this country more than President Trump. I mean, say what you want about the man, but like, say what you want about his policy. Say what you want about his wife spending time at Trump Tower instead of at the White House. The dude loves this country. I did not get that from a previous president or any single candidate,
So,
with the exception of Tulsi Gabbard. I thought Tulsi Gabbard cared a little bit. I didn't think she cared as much as Trump.
yeah, she wasn't
so
bad.
Yeah.
She was
I gotta
palatable.
ask you. Now, to be fair, it is a lot lower, I guess, on the grand scheme. But I'm trying to understand, and I'm not even trolling. This is the honest to God.
Sure.
If we're saying we're wanting to cut cost, but we're okay with Melania and everybody spending millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, and Trump going to before the COVID hit,
Sure.
going to rallies every week.
Yep. Do you
And
want an
spending
answer on that?
tons of money. That is not conservative, right?
I agree.
That's still using.
Sure.
Okay.
But it is a drop in the bucket compared to the stimulus bills he's signed. It is a drop.
Where
in the
you would
bucket.
disagree with him, right?
I am totally against any stimulus bill. I'm against any stimulus bill. I'm against welfare, like hardcore. That's a
That's
no-no.
libertarian, right?
I have trouble distinguishing right libertarian from conservative a lot of times. I think, I mean, you can call it libertarian if you want, but I mean, it's a stance I have as a conservative. So
you would say taxation is theft.
no, well, I would say income taxes. Actually, I believe, and I've said this before on the show, the only form of tax that is not theft is sales tax. And I say abolish all income tax, all property tax, and have flat sales tax on everything. Totally support that. Because it's all
There's actually
voluntary.
an argument. Well, there's actually an argument for, and that's actually one of my questions.
I'm sorry, I
Well,
cut John off.
Oh yeah, I was
Oh, go ahead.
gonna, yeah, I just wanted to say, like, when it comes to like two things, and that is like the protection of our lawmakers and the military. I really don't care that much about what they spend. I mean, honestly, we really don't even get to know what the military spends. But I know it's a lot, and it's probably excessive, and there's probably ways that you could cut it off. But like, those are two things when it comes to me, where I don't really care about the spending, because I think those are incredibly important, that the president is protected whatever he does, no matter who the president is, and same with our other lawmakers. But at the same time, when it comes to the Secret Service money, I mean, that money's already allocated in a bill, so it's like the money's already there. Like, it's not like he's getting additional spending passed just for him. They already allocate that spending when they pass a spending bill. And I just wanted to make that point, because I think that's important to realize, that it's not like he's just racking up a debt and actively, like, they passed that spending bill. So you should really be concerned about what Congress is passing and how much they're passing to let the Secret Service spend, if you're going to have an issue with it, because they're the ones who are passing these spending bills that have that allocation in there. So anyway.
Okay, well that actually, I guess, feeds into the next portion and about philosophy in general, and we've already kind of touched on a little bit. So, are you in favor of a minimum wage? If so, how much should it be set on a federal level?
Absolutely not. Abolish all minimum wage. Thomas Sowell has proven time and time again why minimum wage destroys jobs and destroys businesses. Minimum wage should never be enacted in this country. And to bring it down even further, like, forget Thomas Sowell if you want. Minimum wage is the government telling a business what they should do with their property, which I'm fully against. The reason being, simple question. What does the government do well? I can think of one thing that the government does okay.
Spend money.
Well, okay, that's something they do really well. I guess there's one thing they do really well. The thing that they do okay that is for this country, I would say, is military. But I even think they don't do that very well. So I don't trust the government to do anything. I don't want the government doing things in our lives. That wasn't what the Constitution framed our government for. So I actively fight minimum wage 100%. Absolutely not. No.
And on the minimum wage stance, I would say I am not opposite of Ben, but I differ. I think that we should have a minimum wage, but I think there's some very inherent problems in minimum wage that cause issues in economies like California and stuff, and that is that you can't just double the minimum wage overnight. And yes, I know it's been, 8 years since it got raised or whatever. That's fine. Maybe even more than that. I mean, I guess it's 2020 now. But it's been a while since the minimum wage got raised. But you don't just go and double it like right away, because everything's just always going to catch up to the minimum wage. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. All the minimum wage serves to do is help prevent people from being exploited for their labor.
No, it doesn't, because then you can just hire a machine to do exactly what you had a human doing. But also, it causes inflation.
But here's the thing, all right? You can build a machine to do what a human does, right?
Sure.
But you're talking about like the liberal agenda, which is like, let's make the minimum wage $15 an hour, which is ridiculous. But there has to be a certain price that you set.
Ridiculous, David? Do you think that's ridiculous?
What's that?
$15 minimum wage?
All right. So, long story short, when it comes to minimum wage, it's kind of like with where I disagree with Beto O'Rourke or Beto.
I think it's
as he would like to say.
Beta.
Beto. I don't know how to say that in Spanish. He was so disingenuous.
I love him. Don't say
I
that.
bet you did. He was good. He was good. Mean. He was a lolcow. Anyway,
wonderful.
So I would say the minimum wage for Republicans is the axe to bear like the Democrats with guns. We can talk about it till the cows come home, but it doesn't really mean that we're not getting rid of guns and we're not getting a minimum wage. Because
I think if Biden gets elected, we will get rid of guns. Absolutely. Well, they'll try.
Yeah, we that's a whole. We have to do a whole separate.
Yeah, we would.
Topic for that. But long story short, I'll just say this.
Sure.
If you want to get rid of minimum wage, you have to do what other like Scandinavian countries, for example, like a lot of people can think like Bernie people. Like, well, look at the Scandinavian countries. For example, Norway and Denmark, they don't have a minimum wage. But what they do have are strong unions, and they don't want a minimum wage because that impedes on them to negotiate their labor to companies. And it actually works out great for them. And it actually keeps all their wages high and all that stuff. If you set a minimum mandate like we have, it actually disincentivizes unions and will just do like these low cost whatever. So people like, for example, with low minimum wage, here's the issue with it, right? If it's too low, like let's say like somebody works at Walmart and they make $10 an hour. Well, the government, whether we like it or not, the government will subsidize for that person to make sure they're at a quote unquote living wage, whether that's through food stamps or whether that's through the earned income tax credit. They try to get them up to a minimum wage, and that comes from taxpayer dollars. So the idea behind the quote-unquote living wage is so you actually will spend less money because that's putting the burden on companies to actually pay their workers what they should be getting paid. Now,
that's an arbitrary statement. What they should be getting paid. I mean,
exactly, because that depends on the market. So
differs greatly by state, even like it. Like
100%.
I don't get me wrong, I am pro minimum wage. But I would say the biggest argument for me is like, what should the minimum wage be? How much should we increase it? If we were going to increase it right now, I would say it'd be like $8.25, increase it by $1, something like that. But you're not gonna appease all the markets, because in Idaho, for example, you might be able to live on $7.25. In California, you're not even going to be able to get on the bus for $7.25 an hour.
See, what you just said is the problem. Everyone thinks not everyone, but the people that are making the argument for a minimum wage believe it has to be a living wage. It's never, the minimum wage was never meant to be a living
But if you
wage.
regulate that more on a state level, like what's happening right now already anyway, regardless. Okay. If you regulate that more on a state level, then you're applying more to your locale. So like California's already raised their minimum wage to...
You missed what I'm saying. The minimum wage was never meant to be a living wage. It doesn't matter what state you're in. It's irrelevant.
But
you can have go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah, it's just it provides a certain standard of life for American working individuals. It prevents look at countries who have an
But
extremely
you
low.
are not guaranteed that. That is what the minimum wage people are telling you, that you are entitled to a certain standard of living. You're not. That no one is. You are not born entitled to live a certain life.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but are you essentially endorsing slave-like labor like they do in China? Because that's a result.
Be endorsing slavery?
Well, no, slave-like labor. I didn't say slavery.
Why would it be endorsing slave-like labor?
Because
Yeah, 'cause
in
they get
China
paid.
they have an incredibly low minimum wage, and the government uses that exploitatively to get their people to
But
produce
that's
cheap
also a
goods so that they can
communist
sell
I
to the
didn't know
U.S.
you were pro-China, Ben.
Cute. Donald Trump. Don't
They're
trust
they're
China.
they're 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 economically
no.
more free market than they are communist. They're socially
I don't
communist.
know that. I haven't researched China, but
Okay.
regardless,
Oh, they 100% are hyper-capitalist.
Economically, they are much
Interesting.
more free market.
Okay.
Yeah,
fine.
I-
I'm willing to accept that. I'm not.
Yeah.
talking about
Okay.
China, though.
Okay.
But regardless, what I'm trying to illustrate is, if let's say you own a business A, and
Mhm.
you pay, I don't know, $3 minimum wage, right? There's no minimum wage by the government, right?
Mhm.
And I own a business, and I do exactly what you do, and I pay my employees $4. Who are they going to work for?
They're gonna choose the one that pays more, but that doesn't.
And then you will have to raise your pay
So here's the thing, though.
to keep employees.
But
You would
that's
have
not.
to.
But that's not true capitalism. And here's
That
why.
is true capitalism. That's
But
the
that's the
basis
thing.
of
But
capitalism.
But here's the problem.
Okay,
If
go
you have
ahead.
if you have too many companies, what I would say the best thing to do is that everybody treats all these businesses as the same. Amazon is not the same as your local, like, Family Dollar or what. I mean, not Family Dollar, it's a multi-billion, like a company like Mom and Pop Shop. Companies need to be treated different depending on how big they are, because it's not it's not on the same playing field.
Okay.
That's one thing
So
where
what you're
AOC
saying is the government should dictate morality.
well, not morality.
Yeah,
I would say
that's
like
morality.
common sense.
No,
well,
that's
I
morality,
guess morality
because
but
you're
we do
saying
that now,
this this business is bad or too big, right? It's operating in a whole nother field, so we need to treat it differently than this business. But you're making the judgment, which is a moral judgment, right?
Well, we do that all the time.
Right.
We do that right
but
now.
the government was never meant to do that. It's very, very clear in the Constitution.
But everything's a moral judgment. Everything.
No, that's
when we went to war
that's
with
not
Iraq,
true.
there was a moral judgment.
The
Absolutely.
Well,
When they sent the planes to
Hold
the
on.
Twin Towers,
Whoa!
we
Now
went
you're
back,
getting into
right?
Iraq. No. Hold one thing at a
No,
time.
I'm just
We're talking
saying
about
that's a moral
economy,
judgment.
Or we're talking. I agree. And
When
I
it's
think it was
pro-life,
wrong.
that's a moral judgment, right?
No, that's murder. That's
No, but
taking
that's
away
moral,
someone's
though.
property. That's taking away some. Hold on. I'm gonna address that point. Just wait 1 second. If we're talking, where were we talking? Oh yeah, James Madison said, "I cannot undertake to lay my finger upon that article of the Constitution wherein a government has the right to take from its constituents in order to operate in benevolence." I got that quote wrong, but that's basically what he's saying. The government cannot articulate what is good or bad, right? They have to operate on property. They have to operate on the law. Legality is very different from morality. So, in the terms of pro-life, if you believe that someone is alive at conception, you believe that's murder, right? Now that is certainly an argument for morality. That being said, if it is a fact that that person is alive, you've just murdered somebody. That is taking someone's property. Right. It's
Every
based
choice.
on a concept, but bear with me, we're talking about property, right?
Yeah,
So,
okay.
if you believe that that person is alive, you agree, you're killing somebody, right?
Which is a moral choice.
No. It's taking away someone's property. If we're operating on property, if property is the law, if you have a right to your property, you just took away somebody's property, you operate outside the law.
So
You
when
can't
we
do that.
drone strike people over in the Middle East, is that
Why are
they're
you-
taking away our property? That's
Look,
murder, right?
I'm against that.
That's right.
That has nothing to
But
do
that's
with
the
what we're
same thing.
talking about.
No. But you just got done saying that is everything. It depends on the morality of your government.
No,
Every government
what
law,
I
when it
said
comes
was
to pro-guns,
James
everything is a
Madison
moral.
said that he cannot undertake to lay his finger upon the article of the Constitution wherein Congress has the right to reappropriate funds for the purposes of benevolence. That's the quote.
Right.
Pardon me.
Okay.
So,
real
so
quick,
I
real quick.
can't
Go ahead.
send money to a drone company or a military branch to go kill somebody because I believe he's bad. right? That would be me acting outside of the law. I believe that's wrong.
This-
100%.
Right. Real quick, I'll promise. Sorry, John, for interrupting.
Yeah, no, I
Here's my thing.
I just want to say one thing real quick.
ahead.
We're really getting into the weeds here.
I know.
This
I
is-
don't see how this helps you like find out why we're Trump supporters.
No,
But
because I have to, because actually this is one of the big points I wanted to bring up.
Sure.
Okay.
Because a lot of conservatives, I wouldn't say conservatives, but even to be fair, even lefties can do this too. We idolize people of the past and don't accept them for who they were. Like, for example, like you just got done quoting James Madison.
Sure.
To be honest with you, James Madison, I'm grateful for what they've done, and I'm grateful for the Constitution and for everything that they've done. But times have changed, and we have changed. And just because James Madison lived back in the day, he's not Jesus. Like,
I
for
agree.
example, Martin Luther King. Exactly. Martin Luther King was a great man, and everybody was like, "Well, did you know that he cheated on his wife?" Like, yeah, he probably did.
He
I
cheated
don't
to
care.
get his PhD too.
Yeah. Either way, did he do great things? Yeah. Did he probably cheat? Sure. That doesn't mean like what his action was at the end of the day was morally bad. Those are two separate thoughts. Like, for example, that's why I actually like to talk to conservatives, because a lot of the time it's like, well, let's remember the days of James Madison. It's like, how about we don't look at forefathers and look at actual systems that work? How about we look at other countries and say, well, that seems to work for them. Why are we not doing that? Why are we
hold
falling
on.
behind?
I understand what you're getting at, but James Madison read over 400 books on governance and then proceeded to write the Constitution. And
Back
the
in
Const-
17, yeah, back when the country was
but the
founded.
Constitution
It's
still
2020.
applies because the Constitution wrote the best form of government to date. I mean, I have no arrogance in saying that. Like, what I'm trying to illustrate there is he built a form of government. Well, he was a part of building, but I would say he was the father of the Constitution. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that. He built a system of governance that allowed the individual to prosper and to live free. And by live free, I don't mean anarchy. I mean you had the right to do with your property as you please unless you infringed on someone else's, right? And that's huge. That had never been done before. Now, I don't care if it happened in 1776, 1100 BC, 2020 AD. It still applies. That's huge. We need to preserve that because once we lose it, you got nowhere to go. Really, you got nowhere to go. Now, if all you want is a welfare state, that's not freedom. You're not living in a free country. You're openly defying everything that the founding fathers built in this country.
All right, then that actually brings me to one of the questions. I know we might be running out of time, but
Yeah, I don't know what time it is.
it's 9:30.
We
so
got
I don't know
about
if you guys have
about
to-
2 minutes.
We
but
can go a little over. I'm having
Okay,
fun.
here's something, and this is a good one because Ben, I know you, Ben. I don't know about you, John, but Ben, I know this is like one of those
John's
things.
a
that you
nice
say
guy
to
too.
yourself. Oh well, no. I'm just saying, Ben. I know you know this answer through and through. You probably recite this to yourself every day, and that is, can you define freedom?
Yep, I've done it several times. You're right. So freedom, in my opinion, and this is the best definition I've been able to find, is the right to do with your property and or charge as you please, as long as you don't infringe on someone else's property and or charge. That's freedom. Anarchy is not freedom.
I don't have a eloquent set definition of what freedom is.
I've
I
been
have an
working on
image
this
of
one
it.
for years.
Yeah. You make me look foolish on stream. But no, I don't have
no,
I don't have an eloquent definition of freedom. But like certainly, government control does not exist within my mental definition of it. I can say that much. Like over control by a government certainly does not exist.
Hold on. Somebody just said something that I gotta address, and that's why I've come up with this definition. I said property is your right to do as you please. Freedom is your right to do with your property and or charge as you please, as long as you don't infringe on someone else's property and or charge. He said, so murdering your dog is fine because it is your property. Okay, a dog is not something under the law. Is not a citizen under the law. I don't support murdering your dog. I would find that immoral, but frankly, it is your dog. You have a right to do with it as you please. Now, I love dogs. I love my dog. That doesn't mean it's something that's good. It's just something that you have a right to do as a freedom. If your dog needs to be put down, are you murdering it when you put it down? Don't be ridiculous. It's a silly thing to say. Anyway.
Okay, well, I'll give you my definition of freedom, and I guess we can
Sure.
peace out. So I would say my definition of freedom is more along the lines of like, am I free for social mobility? when it comes to does my country give me opportunities so I can, if I start poor, I can become high middle class or rich or whatever.
Sure.
So
you can prosper,
does my
right?
prosper, right?
Based on.
So,
Wait, let me just make sure I get your definition or
yeah.
what you've said so far clear. You're saying you believe that freedom is the ability to move beyond your station based on your own choices.
Right, but every single country has a definition of how they provide that pathway for you.
Okay.
So I'm not born in a vacuum like the Matrix and I just roll around and then like I find money. Like the country provides you ways of like whether it be public education or your colleges or of course you have to make your own decisions too. Like any lefty would say like it should be given to you is crazy. But my thing is like social mobility. So when it comes to world rankings, America is 22nd, whereas like Scandinavian countries and Germany are way higher when it comes to can you pull yourself up by the bootstraps, as some people would say, and move on to a higher social status in your life, because the country is giving you opportunities to move throughout. So I don't have to worry about being bothered with like we haven't got a chance to get to it. There'll be a whole separate topic, but like healthcare, for example,
Healthcare is
stuff
welfare.
like that.
Just call it welfare.
Well, so is like, and I guess like police and fire department.
No. Difference between police and fire department and roads. A police, fire department, and roads benefit you and me both in every instance of the word. Healthcare, welfare, does not. It benefits one section of society. It does not benefit both sides. So, no, welfare and police departments and fire departments and roads are not the same.
So how would healthcare only benefit one part of society?
Because you have one sect of society paying more into that healthcare system than another. Therefore, there's an imbalance into who benefits.
Right.
I mean, that's not debatable. That happens.
Yeah, you're right. But at the same point in time, man, we're running out of time. We have to do this another time. But I guess
on
that'd
a
be a
road,
good
I
tease.
drive on the right side of the road as you're driving on the other side. That we both benefit.
Right.
We really should do a part 2 with more policy based, because
I'd
I
love
want
to.
to. I think we got kind of the frills out of the way with
Yeah.
I think we should definitely do another part with a little more policy talk, because I think that we could really get into the weeds on it. But anyway,
here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So those rich people, they pay more in taxes. Therefore, they pay more into the roads than I do. So does that mean that they should drive on those roads more than me?
Well, I'm against
confused.
income tax.
They pay more in taxes, right?
No, they shouldn't drive more on those roads than you. They should drive the same amount. Or if
if they're rich, they probably have more money too.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't use the road, honestly, dude. They would use like private jets.
That's a good point.
I would.
Yeah.
But regardless, I don't.
But that's an imbalance.
I don't support income tax. I don't at all. I think you make more money, so you should be punished. I think that's ludicrous. I think
now.
Sorry.
There is an argument, by the way, when it comes to stock market about if you want to help income inequality, you actually do a flat tax or a sales tax on when you purchase the stock to begin with. There's actually been a strong argument with that when it comes to flat taxes.
I don't
because
know.
people like Jeff Bezos, who just sits on their hands and just makes billions of dollars just by looking at a wall. But if you have that initial entryway of you buying into stock, then that might actually
would that just hurt poor people more if you had to? There was some sort of fee to buying in.
Well,
that actually sounds worse.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
But regardless,
there's some libertarian arguments that actually say that could help income inequality because that would help. That would actually help with like the uber rich, like just investing low and just cashing out at a low capital gains tax.
You know what? If you're able to use your property to make yourself richer and you're not harming others, I'm fine with you doing that. I really like. I mean, I'm a landlord. I have 2 homes, right? I rent out the other home. I make money off of that. Should I be penalized?
No.
Right. I took risk. I made the effort. I put a down payment on that house. People are willing to pay me X amount of dollars, and I give them a place to live. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm proud of that, actually.
As long as you abide by the law and provide landlord rules, then sure.
Right.
I mean, you can't just go in there and just diarrhea dump all over the house. And
I mean, I think I should be allowed to kick them out when I please, but I signed a contract with them, and as long as I don't disobey that contract, fine with it. But I want to just address like the overarching theme of this real quick. I just want to tell you in like 1 or 2 sentences why I'm a Trump supporter, and then I'm gonna let John go, and then
Yeah.
I can go.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I adore Trump. He is not Jesus to me. He is not my idol. But he has shown me that he cares about this country and loves this country. He's shown me that he's willing to fight the fights of this country that average citizens aren't willing to do because we're working or we're tired or we don't know how. He has shown leadership. He has shown a spine. The media has done horrible things to this man. I don't care who you are. The man is not a racist. I don't believe that. I've seen him speak 6 times now, and I've met actual racists. He is not one of them. I think he's the best president of my lifetime in terms of preserving freedom. So that's why
and for me, it really just 110 million% comes down to policy. Do I think Trump's funny? Yes. Do I think he's entertaining? Do I think he says some ludicrous things sometimes? Absolutely. Does he say some things that I don't support sometimes? Yes. Like the red flag laws, bring that up. Totally dumb thing to say, even if he didn't act on it. And that's what really matters is the acting that he does when it comes to the policies that he enacts and that he enforces. I guess he doesn't really enact them, but he has the veto privilege, so kind of. But when it comes down to those policies, I have not seen really too much out of him that I don't agree with or don't support in any way. And I think that's the most except for gun stuff. I think that's the most valuable thing that he brings to the table because, I mean, honestly, I don't care how crazy anyone sounds. If they're doing something good for me and good for my country, I'm going to appreciate that. And so I think that's why I see him as the favorite president of my lifetime by far. And keep in mind, I've only had 3. But favorite president of my lifetime.
Baby, unlike us, David.
Yeah.
Like your kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm like, you must be older than.
No,
wait a minute. You're 20?
I'm 20. Yeah, I'm 20.
Yeah, just quick math. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's
congratulations on making it to 20. I'm sorry I've never said that to you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my birthday was just a little bit ago, actually. So, but yeah, let's wrap it up because I think
we'd love to have you back on the show.
Absolutely.
And do another. Kind of delve deeper. I thought this was a rather enjoyable experience, unlike every single Facebook debate I've ever had.
And we can go in deeper on like why you think alt-right is really left and
I think the left and the alt-right are both horrible. I find them both despicable.
Well, do you think they're the same, right? Like,
I don't think they're the same. Right? I think they pick different colors. But I mean, I guess I think they're the same in that they are both racist, like fundamentally pure racist. I think it's pretty evil.
But yeah,
we'll have to get
that. This is another time.
Anyway, it's been a good stream. Thanks for everyone who tuned in. Thanks for everyone who chatted. Sorry we couldn't get to all the chats, but
we wish you guys had trolled harder.
We couldn't get to all the chats, but I appreciate everyone who tuned in and did contribute to the conversation at all. And I hope everyone has a great afternoon.
Yeah. Do you want to close this out while David says some
trans rights, right?
Trans rights. Okay. And while he's hanging up, see you guys next time.